Yeah, today we're talking about Dissidia Duodecim and its roguelite mode that makes me think Square Enix could do this whole game again, but just as a roguelite to test the waters to see if people truly want a new Dissidia game. This is Wandering Sosuke. Get your thoughts together and let your mind wander. You clicked on this video either wanting to hear what I have to say about Dissidia or not really knowing what a Dissidia is. Well, let me explain. Dissidia initially was released on the Sony PlayStation Portable back in 2008 as Square Enix's arena crossover fighter for the Final Fantasy franchise. It's not the traditional fighter a lot of the FGC would want, but it's still a pretty good video game and overall, in my opinion, has some things that hold up well, better than improved on in its 2011 sequel, Dissidia Duodecim. This game kinda took everything about the first game and broke it down completely and then rebuilt it. A lot of it feels better, smoother, and there's additional mechanics to mess with, like an assist system, as well as a follow-up to the story of the original game. The crossover aspect is still there, you still have a lot of familiar Final Fantasy faces, and you use heroes and villains alike in order to progress through the plot and kick some ass. At the end, chaos is waiting for you. Go whoop ass. But let's actually talk about why I'm talking about Dissidia in the first place. If you complete the story for Dissidia Duodecim, the main scenario mode, you unlock something in the arcade area known as Labyrinth. Labyrinth is a mode that on its own requires a lot more to talk about, and I just wanted to break down what Dissidia was for you, so let's actually get into Labyrinth, okay? Dissidia's Labyrinth mode can be summed up as a giant, endlessly replayable arcade mode, but that's not entirely the idea. The idea behind Labyrinth mode is that it is a roguelite, in which you do consecutive runs acquiring equipment as well as items and buffs in order to, change how you go about playing things, but it's not to the degree of, say, some more modern roguelites that you would know. You're not changing a lot of the things that I'm going to get into that I wish it did later. The concept of it is to go through areas known as cloisters to get to the end, to then close out your run with whatever you had, and you can run into your past rendition, pick up some stuff, and keep pushing to the next cloister, see how far you get. The mode itself is rather interesting and in-depth because of the different ways you go about acquiring party members. They can either be assists or playable characters in your 5-slot party. You can pick up things known as class cards, these right here. They come in multiple different variants. You have the held-based ones that change how you play the game as a whole, where you will get different effects going into battle as well as outside of battle. Then you have the one-use ones like Samurai and the like that change what happens on the screen immediately before you go into a battle, or what happens when you're about to go into a battle, like EX meter regain or health regain. Just simple shit like that. And then there's the status-based ones that hinder you, that prevent you from getting additional cards, shrink your card hand size, as well as even halt you from even using anything like your other class cards. It's very interesting to see how this system works and how things change around it a little bit. But I kind of wish what you could do with Dissidia was a lot more than what was given. The idea behind this mode is interesting, but I feel like it's a little bit less to be desired nowadays anyways if we're comparing it to other roguelites. So let's get into what it could be if they were to make a new Dissidia as a proper full-on roguelite on its own. So, to get into what I would change for a Dissidia, roguelite game to come out now, honestly, just thinking about it, I feel like it would still have to keep the core identity of the Dissidia franchise, EX meter, customizable moves, and the like. Shit, don't get rid of bravery, that is a, defining mechanic next to the EX meter, and of course the customizable moves. I feel like overall they would need to play into more of the aspects of Final Fantasy that we don't really get to use in Dissidia. Things like status ailments, regular spells, and shit. A lot of characters in Dissidia do have spells and things that are recognizable to Final Fantasy. You've got Fire, you've got Thunder, you've got Blizzard. I mean, look at Squall, he's got an entire fucking combo chain that is just that. But that's not the entire point. The point here is to be able to use a lot of these system mechanics and ideas from Final Fantasy properly in order to then change how your run plays. Hell, it should have customized versions of attacks and skills that players use on these characters that change how your run works. Kind of like in BlazBlue Entropy Effect or Dead Cells, where getting tactics change just small things about your run in a drastic way going forward. Or in Dead Cells, where every weapon has a custom affix to it that gives you oil, burning fire, whatever. I know it's not on screen, like demonstration-wise, because my footage is literally just me recording a run of Dead Cells, but you get the idea, trust me. We do this shit in one take for the most part. As you can see, these things would help really customize what you do for Dissidia and how you change the idea of Labyrinth mode. You would pull from different locations and enemies and things you recognize. It wouldn't just be a dead man's run all the way to the end to only fight Feral Chaos. I mean, come on. I like Feral Chaos 255 also, but there's more enemies out there that they could have pulled from on the PSP for the original one to make the runs more interesting instead of just fighting the same characters on the roster over and over and over again, but with different armor pieces and, you know, different varying levels of AI difficulty. I feel like there can be more ways they can do that. As we can see, there is a lot that other roguelites nowadays do that can be borrowed from but still have that Final Fantasy twist and flair. Hell, in the original Dissidia and Duodecim, there is an entire mode called RPG mode where instead of playing with, you know, traditional action-based combat, as Square wants to put it, instead you use a command menu to like fight your enemies, and I think that'd be really cool to borrow from, kind of like Kingdom Hearts, where you still have the action-based combat and stuff, but like when you're attacking and shit, you scroll up and down on the menu with the D-pad. Boom, you use that to fight. Just an idea, really. Like, that's how I ended up seeing it. But not everybody likes RPG mode from what I know. I know a few people do, and I've seen my brother do it with, like, Checked, but outside of that, I feel like there needs to be more borrowed from Final Fantasy's roots to tie into the core gameplay loop and feedback, and, you know, obviously have meta progression for unlockable shit like character colors and alternate costumes or whatever. Add that to the game to give it more life and longevity. I feel like something like that is almost integral to a roguelite. You need meta progression in order to keep people playing, but also have a fun enough combat loop to keep people playing even after they unlock everything for the meta progression. It's important. It's key. It's a necessity. Trust me. I still play Entropy Effect for a reason. I still play Dead Cells for a reason. There's a lot that just goes on under the hood combat-wise that just makes me want to play the game whenever. And I feel like if you truly get the idea down properly with a Dissidia roguelite, you can really open up what people can see for these characters. And hell, in the modern setting, you could add a bunch of Final Fantasy characters that weren't in those games. You could actually add Noctis to the game, you know, but good Dissidia in my opinion. Put Ramza in there, Clive, anybody really. Shit, pull one of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Catwaifu Stola, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There's a lot that you can do with that, and I feel like the more you think about it, the more you think, if they test the waters for a new Dissidia using a roguelite, it'd be no different from how Arxis kind of let 91 Act do whatever with Entropy Effect using the BlazBlue IP, and now look at us. We're getting Trinity Glassville in fucking Central Fiction, and most likely we're gonna see Ragna and Strive. If we don't, it won't bother me, but if we do, who would have fucking thought? One of their most popular fighting game characters is also in another fighting game that's incredibly popular. Also, Ragna's in Damon and Baby. I just thought I'd bring that up real quick. Sorry, Final Fantasy fans. It's just, you know, it's important to me. But I feel like that could bring back Dissidia from the grave and give people the Square Enix Arena Fighter crossover game that they really enjoy. And don't just use Final Fantasy. Use other Square Enix-based IPs to then bolster the roster of characters that people recognize and love. I don't know, I'm just kind of rambling. You know, first take type shit, one take type shit. It's what I have on my mind, it's what I've been thinking about for a little while. Hey, we all can't be perfect with what we think about, and when you're like me, when you've been wanting Dissidia to come back for the longest, this is the best you got. All that being said, I'm a wandering Sosuke. I want y'all to be easy, take care, have yourselves a damn good one, and bid farewell to this digital fox in no world to call their own. By the way, I have a goal of reaching 500 subscribers before the end of the year, so if you can click that sub button, you can pop around for action games, RPGs, and of course fighting games whenever I'm streaming. I stream here and over on Twitch as well. All that being said, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Jonah.